All right, I am not going to talk over the music, but I'm talking now before I start the music. Don't edit this out.
Okay.
I know you're going to.
Lies! Sit on a throne of lies. Not talking over the intro.
Welcome.
I should have known.
Welcome to the ugly truth. It is still the ugly truth, even though we have a sit-in sub for now. So we saw a musical this weekend.
If you didn't notice.
Daryl,
No shout outs. That was Ariana Grande quality right
Daryl
there.
is very, very influenced by our viewing of Wicked over the weekend, as you can tell. Stephanie is on a sabbatical, holidays, her son, all the things. We're giving her a sabbatical. Hopefully you're okay with that. I mean, you have the best UGG all the time. It would be me.
I think the show would shut down if you weren't there, so.
Yeah, and it's not going anywhere. I promised Stephanie I'm not canceling the show because you have life. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that being said, yes, you and I went to see Wicked on opening night.
We did.
This is one of the good things about being an empty nester is we're still pretty young for having no kids at home because we have a lot of friends who are our age who have small children at home still.
Right.
So it's great.
Yeah.
But we get to go to the movies at 9:30 at night.
Right.
And it's all adults because we go to a 21 plus theater.
Yep.
So we can grab a cocktail, get our popcorn and our Pellegrino and watch a movie with no
big
kids.
Recliners and no kids in there.
It's really a little luxury.
A little bit.
It is because it's just the two of us. I mean, you and I used to go, when I was a stay-at-home mom, would take 4 small children to the 9:30 a.m. matinee to watch the latest Disney movie. Yep. And they'd have to share one popcorn. Oh, God.
We gave them, they got a little tray, we would divide the popcorn up.
The luxury for them was if I decided to let them have an icy.
Right.
Because those were incredibly expensive and there was 4 of them. But anyway, pouring down rain.
It was raining.
Freezing, but we go anyway, and I'm glad we did. It was packed, fully sold out, 9:30 at night, a bunch of theater adults.
They had added a bunch of showings too.
Yeah.
So.
And although Gladiator was playing, nobody was there for that. For Gladiator, it was all Wicked, and so we had great seats. So we go in, we sit down. There's been a lot of discussion about adults standing up and singing during some of the more how do you say that?
I don't know what word you're coming up with.
Pentumulate? I don't know.
Pentultimate?
Pentultimate song.
Okay.
Where they literally stand up and start singing the Western Sky.
Everybody should
gravity.
Fly.
Yeah, Defying Gravity. See, newsflash, I do not do musicals. I know nothing about most musicals. I didn't know anything about Wicked other than I thought it was a take on The Wizard of Oz. I had no idea it was based on a book. Nothing.
I knew book. I knew musical. Of course, Idina Menzel got very famous with that.
Of course.
But also, so in this particular case, I was only an inch above you in terms of knowledge of this thing because I'd never heard the soundtrack other than Popular, which, honest to God, I probably heard 10 times before I knew it was from the Wicked. Musical. Yeah. So just because it's a viral kind of clip that you use. But no, I was not Oz musical, Idina Menzel, that one song.
Yeah,
that's it.
I don't know if it was my upbringing or what, but musicals and Broadway and all of that was not something that I was interested in. And I appreciate all kinds of art. I love, and I love seeing plays. I mean, I haven't gone to a play lately.
See, I'm the opposite.
But I enjoy those. I just enjoy the acting part. But the breaking out into song stuff, it's trying. It tests me. Yeah. And I don't know why. It's just not my thing.
I mean, with one exception.
Xanadu?
No, then 2 exceptions, yes.
No, here's the thing. As I've gotten older, I've started to realize I actually do like some musicals. Yeah. But it's not top of mind, like, oh my God, we have to go see the latest whatever.
Well, because the only one you've actually seen in person is when we went to see Hamilton on Broadway.
And I was absolutely gobsmacked.
Yeah.
I remember turning to you completely hysterically crying. And I'm like,
is
this what they're all like?
They're not.
Is this how musicals are? Because I didn't know, if this is what it was, then I need to get on board. I had no idea. So anyway, I only had an idea of what I thought Wicked was about. I really didn't know. And so then we start watching it and I'm like, okay, this is way more different than I expected. I did not read the book. And of course I have purchased the book.
Oh, you did buy it?
Oh yeah. Because now I need to read the book. Now I know there's
a book, right? It's like a series.
There's 4 or 5, but I just bought the one just to see, because they're young adult kid books basically.
They're darker than the movie and the musical.
From what I understand, I wouldn't know. I've never.
At least that's what I heard too.
I just want to know more about the story.
Yeah.
And so we sit down, it starts. There's a lot of really cool, iconic, it feels like you're getting ready to watch The Wizard of Oz, the fonts they use, the intro, it's very technicolory, it's really cool. And then, of course, now as talented and as amazing as Ariana Grande was in this, and she was, the other girl, Cynthia. Cynthia,
it's like
Elviro?
Elviro.
I'm so
something.
sorry, I'm going to look it up. That woman.
Yeah. Oh, she's next level.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And you were saying that she's one Oscar away from an EGOT.
Yes. And she's been nominated before, but she's not won. But she's won an Emmy and a Grammy for...
Cynthia Erivo.
So she won a Tony. Well, actually, it's all Color Purple related, all 3 of her wins, because she got a Grammy for it, a Tony for it, and then she got an Emmy for performing Color Purple in an award show or something.
Okay, so what I didn't realize was I knew who she was.
Yeah.
A long time ago, probably post Hamilton, because I was like, what is this? What are these musicals? I remember when the Color Purple, the musical, came out.
Yep.
I remember it because it was getting unbelievable, reviews just in the world of our lives, So I saw a clip of her singing the final big number.
The
penultimate number. And I started crying because she's so good.
Yeah.
She emotes, and then the singing, my God. And
really
all
good.
I can think of, I'm like, okay, I don't know a lot about Broadway and theater, but I do know Rita Moreno.
Sure.
And all I can think of is she's literally going to be in that high category.
Yeah.
If she isn't already.
Right.
Julie Andrews, she sang a song for Julie Andrews when she was being known for the Kennedy Honors. I was like, good Lord. She was singing a Sound of Music.
Yes.
I was like, why? I hate that I'm just now.
Yeah.
And there's all those
and
theater.
she did Aretha Franklin too.
All those theater kids who are adults are like, I'm embarrassed for you that you don't even know who she is. And I'm like, hey, we all learn on our own time, okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I just now am realizing how amazing she is. She's amazing. And I'm so glad that we got to see that. And so all this cool trivia about the movie and everything is great, but I'm like, it doesn't matter. She was amazing. I was literally stressed watching this film because I don't know anything about it.
Right.
So a lot of people going in, waiting for the songs and all that. And I'm just watching going, are they going to save that baby lion? What's happening? Please, somebody help him. The cage is too small. That's what I'm stressing about. And then everybody else is like, when is she going to sing again? And I'm like, I don't care. Just save the animal, But
I wonder with that in mind, because obviously there's a lot more. The musical is about 3 hours.
Right.
Which means this 2 hour and 40-minute, which only got to the intermission, had a lot more in it than the musical.
Well, they were able to flesh out a lot of stuff in the book.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
So maybe the musical feels a lot more word, song, word. You know what I mean? Maybe it feels like they're constantly breaking into song in the musical, but the movie, it wasn't as bad.
There are people who are leaving just completely tears moved, emotionally moved by the end.
Yeah.
I was actually it felt triumphant to me.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't feeling cryy emotional. I was like, yes. I thought it was so great.
Well,
but there was a part that I did get emotional, but it was the acting. It wasn't the song. It was the way they scored the scene. It was so moving. And I'm like, this is I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, as much as I know people were really emotionally moved by, and I think everybody who knows this show definitely left full of emotions and crying and all.
Everybody
Definitely.
where you saw that definitely is a lover of the musical. And everybody I saw, I didn't make that connection originally because there's all these viral videos of this is me before watching Wicked and this is me after watching Wicked.
And you're like, I don't get it, but
I was like, are we going to get, because you even posted it, are we going to get emotional?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either. I mean, obviously it was emotional, like from a movie sense, but not from a crying sense. And I think that I kind of thought we might, or like the way everybody was acting, but I think it's because of the people who are so vested in the past 20 years of this thing being part of their lives. Because for a musical
it feels
kid,
so
this is
satisfying.
This is the
and they did it so
right?
well.
So,
I will say this about the movie, just as a moviegoer and a lover of movies, it felt like the golden age of Hollywood movie. Yeah. Like it really did.
And they did that intentionally. The practical sets,
just beautiful,
the stunts, everything.
You know, like I don't want to talk about Barbie because I talked about Barbie at nauseam, but it felt kind of that same, like we're going to reintroduce the audience to the golden age of Hollywood and what made it so unbelievably incredible to go to the movies.
Yeah, I think this
which is something we lack now because everything goes to Netflix or Disney Plus, and so when you get a movie like this, it's like, oh yeah, this is one where if you go to the movies and see it in the big widescreen with the surround sound, it's like you are experiencing something like a ride. It's amazing.
The best word I heard for it was spectacle.
Oh yeah, definitely
that
a spectacle.
It was a spectacle, like
yes, in a good way,
and not sense like
not in the Karen is mad at you way.
No. Like I think the example that was given, it was the first Harry Potter. Like nobody knew what to expect from the book, right? And so the first one you see, it's epically filmed, right?
It was, and most people would say that it's equal to the book.
Exactly. A lot of it, so and the big talk now is, I saw one. I don't know if you saw this story, but this has been in the works for a very long time, to turn it into a movie. In fact, there was talk about a movie before the musical.
Oh,
so because the book came out in like 95.
It did.
Right? So there was talk about a movie before the musical.
Interesting.
And then the musical got made, and then Cats happened. And they literally said that added several years between getting this done and not getting it done. And I think if Cats did anything, it convinced the people, the Universal doing this is like, we need to follow this thing
to the letter,
to the fucking letter of the book and the musical. The soundtrack is exactly the same as Act 1. It is every single song. It is in the order of every single song. Yeah. So I'm glad they made the decision to do 2. And next year it'd be great to see
I think it was funny how I was turning to you every once in a while and going, I bet that's this or that. And you're all, because you and I don't know the show at all.
No.
We don't know the book, anything. So we went in fully blind.
Yep.
And so I'm sure people were like, shut up. We all know already. You know, I mean, I whispered. I didn't say anything loud. But anyway, Wicked was good.
Yeah, no.
And I'm glad we saw it.
Yeah,
and then
I'm glad we went.
So we're leaving.
It's like 120 million.
We're so
already,
dumb because I read like a fool. This is what, don't believe anything you read on the internet.
Yeah.
Somebody said, and I know now it was a joke. Yeah. They're like, oh, there's a cut scene at post credit.
Yeah, because they shot part 2 at the same time.
So we're like, so I'm like, so we have to stay. And you mentioned at the end of the movie, you're like, everybody left except for us and one other couple.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, they're dumb. And so we're sitting there and then the lights go up and I'm like, there was no post-credit scene?
No.
So we just sat here for 10 minutes extra at 1 in the morning to
you even tried to justify it. You're like,
even the house lights went on.
You're
like it's like, good God.
The instrumentals are really nice that we're sitting here listening to.
So
it's I've saw a few. It's like everybody leaving before the credits, but you stay because you're a Marvel family.
You're a Marvel family and you know there's something.
Well, I actually thought because the first time they did that was first time I'm aware that they did that was Back to the Future 2 and 3 because they filmed them at the same time. And so at the end of 2, you got like a
nice little
extended
snippet.
Trailer of part 3 that wasn't even coming out for a while. So I was kind of expecting not so much a cut scene as much maybe a teaser. But I did see today Bowen Yang. I saw somebody interviewed him. And they were asking all probably at a red carpet event, they were asking them all what their favorite song was. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned a song that's actually in part 2. He goes, when people see Ariana sing this song in part 2, it's going to be nuts.
I will say, changing the subject and on things that I've been watching, listening to, the other day, I was telling you that there's a new podcast out, and I'm a voracious podcast listener.
Yes.
And it's called The Good Whale, and it's about the whale that was rescued out of Mexico City where the goal was to release it back into the wild, which
Yeah.
had never been done before. And
Right.
it cost multiple millions of dollars. And a lot of people say it was a failure. Some people say, how can you say it's a failure, etc.
Right.
Anyway, you can look it up. It's not really a spoiler, but it's the story of how they rescued this dying whale, this orca, took it to Oregon, and then ultimately released it to the wild in the Netherlands, where it ultimately perished.
Right. Well, it was from it was all tied to that movie, right?
Free Willy.
Yeah.
And it didn't die because they released it to the wild. It was an unhealthy creature because of its upstart from the time it got kidnapped.
It was a baby
at 2 years old, and it never thrived.
And 2 years is not only young
that's
in general
a newborn.
for
That's insane.
for an orca. They stay with their moms for like a long time.
According to the scientists, male orcas stay with their mother until almost 30.
Wow.
So
they stay in the same pod for quite a bit. Okay,
until they probably mate.
Yeah,
and I believe, and anyway, yes. So I was telling you about it, and I'm crying.
Oh
because
yeah.
I can't, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying about a whale that's been dead for 20 years, but I can't stop crying about it because it's so sad in a way, because we've learned so much since that, since the 80s, that we don't want to capture and pull poor little babies away from their mamas in the ocean. Oh my God. And
you
then,
encaged animals today. Jeez.
God. And then I was like, and I'm listening to this talk about it and stuff. And they're like, well, we did the best we could with what we knew and all that shit. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? My parents say that all the time. I still don't talk to them, but it's fine.
It's fine.
I'm like crying about this poor whale, but it was all PR because Warner Brothers was getting so much shit about Free Willy, knowing that there was a whale trapped in Mexico in a shitty tank.
Yeah.
And they're like, we have to do something about it. They just threw money at it and said, fix this. We need a success story, like immediately. And then, of course, they made a Free Willy 2 immediately, because God forbid, we can't leave the children high and dry. We need to give them more things to buy stuffies. But anyway, I was listening to that going, you know what? I am so glad that the orcas attack boats. I'm so glad they still do that because, and they do, man. They take them out. And I'm like, good. I'm so glad because those poor things have been through the mill.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just so what we do to our world just makes me so angry.
That's the only mammal classified as a whale that I think they've put in captivity. I can't imagine there's other whales, but they're not whales.
They're not whales.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, maybe they're not technically either.
Then I see Finding Dory. It's like, I'll be your eyes. And I'm like, poor little whales. Yes, I swear to God. Oh my God. Anyway, so you and I went to Bodega Bay for your brother's birthday weekend.
Party.
It was fun.
Super fun.
It was really fun. We did the spa treatment. I went and had a facial and hung out with the girls. We had a really great time. And then you pretended to go fishing at the ocean, even though you didn't catch a thing.
Yeah, it was not the
You're like,
season.
I'm coming back for a halibut.
In fact, we found out later that we may have been the only ones actually fishing because they finally opened crab season. So these people were casting all these little mini crab
loop traps. Why didn't you guys
traps.
go crabbing? I was always wondering. You just didn't want to?
Well, we didn't have the gear for that.
Oh, you couldn't rent traps.
No. You can't use traps.
Or whatever.
You have to be, well, nobody cares,
anyway.
but you can't, only the commercial fishermen can use traps right now. Everybody else has to use some kind of like looping thing. They can't use big crab traps.
So without naming a ton of names, I thought some of our conversations were hilarious. One of the things that again, me and the crying, I do not get it. A friend of ours said, when it's one of our kids' birthdays, we go around the table during birthday dinner and we say one nice thing that we like about the birthday person. And that's just our gratitude for having them in our lives. I'm like, oh, that's really nice. Yeah. We decide who the favorite child of the year is at our house. We vote.
That
was Thanksgiving,
yeah,
but that's what we do.
Coming up.
When we go around the table.
You would think the kids would be kissing our ass right now. Nobody
one
is.
would think they're not.
They're gonna find out the hard way when
I
we
made
vote.
a mistake last year, and I said that there was a 3-way tie and that everybody won. And the outrage. They're like, we are not a participation ribbon family. Someone must win.
I'm really close to voting one of the people who isn't actually a kid yet.
Who?
I'm thinking
like one of the future son-in-laws?
I'm thinking either Ken or even Rachel.
Rachel's not going to be her.
Oh,
so
damn it.
Can't. She's got, she has a family.
Boo.
And she has her own family.
But I bet you, if we snapped her and said, you are in the running, you are a finalist.
Oh my God.
For Child of the Year, but you got to show up.
She might.
She might.
She'd be like, hi, I'm here for my award.
She's like, Mom, brothers, sisters, can't come to Thanksgiving. I am nominated for Child of the Year at someone else's house.
It's a major award. Anyway, they're like, and they were absolutely like, how could you do that to your
they
children?
Did not like that. They wanted a decision. Anyway.
I know when I said that we did that at our table when we have a dinner for family and once a year we vote on who the favorite child of the year is. We're like, how could you never? They're like, how could you do that to your children? And we're like, I don't know.
They're older now. We didn't do it when they were 5.
They're adults.
Jesus.
And one's like, my child would have thrown herself into a glass ceiling or into a glass door if we had said you didn't win. And I'm like, anyway, so we
not something you want to do when your kids are like 5 and 7.
And I'll be honest with you, when it was my turn to say something about your brother, I could not really think of anything specific because
I thought what you said was really sweet.
Well, it's true. I do like the way he sees the world, but it's also because I see it the way he sees it. Yeah. So I think we have that in common. Sure. And so like we can talk about stuff and say 3 words and I totally know what he means. Yeah. And I kind of like our relationship in that manner, you know? Then he invited me fishing. He's like, you want to come fishing? And I'm like, sure, I'll go fishing with you. Never going to go fishing. Never. But he was, he was enjoying his weekends and
captain.
Yes, he was wearing a captain's hat.
We bought him a captain's hat.
And he never took it off.
Which is loosely tied to my awkward moment when that time comes, by the way. So go ahead.
So anyway, so I'm trying not to cry in front of like 15 people. And I'm like, oh my God, what is with me and the emotions? I'm sick of it. When did I get so like soft?
I don't know.
I hate it.
You do?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh,
this is not me.
I don't know. I think it is.
It isn't. I let you see. You are in the inner work. You are in the inner chambers. That's the only reason that you ever seen me have any kind of emotions. I do not try to express this to others.
I don't think you try, but yeah. I think you're a softie.
I'm not. Shut up. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Shut up. Just shut the hell up. Anyway, what's your awkward moment?
Oh, okay. Okay, so you guys went to the spa.
Yes.
We went fishing.
Yes.
It was terrible. We had fun. We
of course
drank, it wasn't
fishing isn't about catching anything.
Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't the best environment. So anyway, but there's a hot tub at the house that
Gonna get into the hot tub.
So we went back, started drinking more. And we all got in the hot tub, and Brad's wearing his captain's hat. It's hilarious. It was hilarious. And so, but Brad and I got in first before the other guys did. Chris walks up and he goes, Daryl, are you naked?
Were you nude?
No, but I had brought a tan swimsuit shorts.
Oh, so you looked
so they were
skin-colored.
Very close to skin tone, and it's a hot tub, so there's bubbles and stuff, right?
So they don't see.
So you
anything.
don't get it like right.
Oh,
he goes,
boy.
"Are you naked?" So Brad like shakes back because I had been in the hot tub before he got in.
He thought you were
so he moves over. And
you're like, I'm not naked, you guys.
And they start giving
Actually,
me,
I would have stood up and been like, yes, and I would have stood up immediately.
I did kind of stand up. They're like, that is not okay. That is not okay. You can't. Who does that? Who buys skin-colored shorts for a man's time in the hot tub?
It's so funny. And then, so later that evening, we're all sitting around the fire.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into specifics because it's nobody's business, really. But we were talking about vasectomies and how
I brought that up.
You had one, yes,
because it was around the fire drunk conversation.
Yeah,
it's always
totally
a good topic.
And you have been very honest that yes, you had one because I wouldn't sleep with you until you had one because I didn't want any more children.
Right.
Because the 4th one almost killed me.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't care.
Well, and you get pregnant if somebody breathes on you.
It's true. So I'm like, I do not care. You must, this baby's going to make it. So at 6 weeks, you better go get stuff taken care of. And you did. And you were, the experience was very interesting.
It's not great.
You were scared like anybody would be. Like it's a procedure, you know, it's not normal. But I, like a fool, because the other men in the group were like, I will never do it. How dare you? Whatever. And
they were typical machismo.
And the wives were like, I know, we wish they would, but they won't, that kind of thing.
All right.
And I said, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
We go in, you have a great urologist, you go in, you have the consult. They go, okay, we'll see ya. He goes, I said, you have to shave your balls. And I said, and Daryl, and of course they're already recoiling.
Oh man.
Already.
They didn't know this
recoiling.
part.
And I'm like, I go, you shave your balls. I go, and then you go, and they see that you never do a good enough job. So they have to do it for you. Yeah. I go, but don't worry. It's a male nurse. They never make a female do it. Never. I said, so you're okay there. And they're already like, you mean another man's going to shave my balls? Like immediately they're like, why can't it be a woman? I said, and then I go, you get a Valium. So you're totally stoned and you're relaxed and everything's fine. I go, and you don't see anything. They put a big curtain up and I go, and then you smell hair and that's it. I go, but what's funny is that Daryl, because he's so, just like anybody, had never had a procedure of any kind like this before.
I really had not had
and
any
you have
surgery
anxiety
at all.
when it comes to medical stuff.
Sure.
The doctor, I'm in the waiting room and I hear the doctor yelling and I'm like, what happened? And the nurse comes out. She's like, excuse me, Mrs. Minor, the doctor would like you to come in and hold your husband's hand.
I was hyperventilating.
And I'm like, what? They're like, he's struggling to stay conscious. And I'm like, why? Well, it's the anxiety. And I'm like, oh, fine. So I come in, I'm like, what's going on? Why can't you keep it together?
Didn't work. I don't remember getting a Valium.
You got one.
Yeah.
And I said, what's going on? You're like, I don't know. I'm, whatever. And he's like, he's fine. And I'm like, okay. And I go, I can't believe I'm sitting here during your vasectomy, holding your hand. I go, you literally saw me push a 10-pound baby out of my vagina, but here we are.
I know.
With your half-inch
I fucking
incision.
did it, okay? It's done.
This is a story that I'm telling your friends. And so they're all quietly listening intently.
One of them goes, I won't say who, but one of them goes, he goes, I was really like, I think I've tried like 2 or 3 times to do it, and I keep canceling the appointments. He goes, after hearing this story, it's never going to fucking happen. and in fact, he said something the next morning. He goes, I would like to thank you and Jamie for convincing me to never let this happen.
And then I said, but what's great is when all is said and done, you get to relax for a day or two with peas, frozen peas on your crotch. And then you get to masturbate for like 2 weeks straight with full permission. Like no one gives a shit. You have to do it. You have to do it. And your brother turns to me and goes, you could have led with that. I'm like, I know, you're right. I go, but all I'm saying is you guys have fun freaking out for the rest of your lives. Daryl and I will be having sex for no reason other than because we can with no repercussions. Right. But enjoy your fear for the rest of your life.
And then, because I couldn't let sleeping dogs lie, I brought up colonoscopy. Wait till you get a colonoscopy. And they're like, what? So good.
It's fun being the big brother.
I know, the old man.
You're not that much older than them, though, but it was funny anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, I think that's the show.
Yeah.
I think, we're going into the holiday season, so I don't know if there will be a show next weekend. Probably not.
Podcast roulette. Never know what you're going to get.
You never know, but we'll have something.
Yeah.
And then when Stephanie's life settles with all the holidays and all of her work schedules and whatnot, I talked to her today. She's absolutely like, I'm dying. I can't believe I haven't been on the show. And I'm like, don't even worry about it. They will forgive you. They will not give you shit. I will, but the listeners will be like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
They're back.
You have to. You're sisters.
I know. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you observe, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your indigenous guilt. I will as well. Even though I'm 20% indigenous, I will as well. So anyway, thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.